we mentioned succession, but let's start just legacy, because I think this is really important for those who don't know him so well. I mean, for me, we kind of assume most people listen to our podcast are pretty much hardcore football fans, right? So obviously, in his 8-ish years that he spent there, he won a number of trophies. I think there's obviously reached 3 Champions League finals, won one of them. The big thing that he did was he delivered the title 30 years after their last title. I think more than that, he formed a connection with the city and the fan base. You know, I often think about, all right, what should we judge a manager on, right? A coach's work. And obviously results is one of them. Obviously, is the team moving in the right direction? Are you improving individual players? Which I think is another thing that he really did. I mean, Andy Robertson was not Andy Robertson. No. To mention one guy. I'd argue Firmino wasn't Firmino.
I mean, Mo Salah wasn't.
Mo Salah was pretty good. No, but you're right. Obviously, he took him to another level. So I think Jordan Henderson, I think another one, obviously benefited from Klopp. So ticks those boxes. But what stands out, and Liverpool lends itself to this because they like their folk hero managers. Yeah. But he really formed a connection.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Was outspoken sometimes on non-football issues as well. And he had this enthusiasm, this charisma, which I don't think probably Liverpool hadn't seen since King Kenny.
Yeah, King Kenny, and then you can obviously go down to Shankly.
I mean, Rafa was loved too, but in a very different way.
Very different way. You're right. Very different personality, of course, as well. And I think Klopp's personality in Liverpool, in what football means to these fans, the city, I think it was like a match made in heaven, really. And it worked so well. You could say, of course, 8.5 years, 1 league title, but because it was this City and Guardiola incredible team, when you reach 98 points, 97 points, 92 points, and you only won one of those 3 titles, there's clearly somebody against you that is amazing too.
The Manchester City have won 5 of the last 6 Premier League titles. The only team I think that really pushed them in that time,
100%,
are Liverpool.
Yeah, it's just, and you're right. All 3, and we said it a lot on the show. The 3 criteria to judge a manager's, the style, the success, and the player's improvement are all there and more even. So one of the greatest, without a doubt. A sad day, but like we said, they've got 4 months to finish on the highest highs of possible, and they will do that.
In terms of the squad, I don't necessarily need to mention. I don't want to get into the Norwich game because let's face it, it was one-sided. But what was interesting too, and people made a big deal out of this, is Bradley, McConnell in midfield. I think making a start. There's a real sense that there's a generation of youngsters coming through. Kwanzaa is another one, and that there's a strong group left behind. Even if Salah and Van Dijk leave, and they're not going to be around more than a couple of years.
No, you don't think so?
At best, right?
But that transition has started already. And for the youngsters, I mean, Nico Williams looked really good too at some point. And he plays for Nottingham Forest. He's not even over starting. So
wasn't he a Welsh international?
Yeah, but you see what I mean? Exactly. So with the youngest ones, unless they're trained and they are really something else, I'm a bit more wary about. Although they look decent. I just think that, as well, before we talk about who could come next, it's also how much Klopp was doing for that club, in the sense that, do you know who was the sporting director? So Edwards left.
Julien Ward
left. And Schwarzkopf was really the kind of guy who's a bit of sporting director. He's leaving at the end of this month, not even waiting for the end of the season. So not just they would have to find a new manager and backroom staff because everybody else is leaving too, but also a sporting director. And as you keep repeating us very rightly, it makes a lot of sense to go first for the sporting director, and he will pick who he wants to also work with, share the same philosophy, blah, 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 everything like that. So it's even more problem than for Liverpool, I think.
Here's the uncomfortable question. If we know Fenway put the club up for sale, and we know that they're in their 70s and they say it's not for sale now, but whatever, are they going to invest in a sporting director? Because this is a really, really big call.
Or you trust the new manager to do that job. A bit like Klopp. Klopp and Linders have been really kind of doing it for the last year or so.
Yeah, and where did Liverpool finish last season?
It was a tough season.
It's a
finishing
difficult
fifth.
one.
Yeah,
Like,
but look on the transfer market. McAllister, Szoboszlai, a lot of them are Klopp's choices.
Yeah, no question. Like, and there's no kind of perfect science to it, but this team was built by Klopp with Michael Edwards.
Yeah, 100%.
And to then step into another model where the sporting director is an extension of the manager, especially when it's a new manager. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
I'm more confident handing Klopp the keys to the transfer window and getting kind of an execution-only director of football. If Klopp is already there, he's already established a culture, he's already proved himself as a manager. Again, I would always have a independent, free-thinking sporting director, but in Klopp's case, you might make an exception. Now he's gone. And the other thing is, as you noted, and this was a little weird to me, his entire backroom staff is gone, including Pep Lijnders, who a lot of people thought, would
Could
be
be a
keen
successor.
could be a successor.
I think he was keen.
Now, if I were a conspiracy theorist, I would say, well, I haven't asked, is Pep Lijnders' tank running on empty as well? Is he tired too? Did he want to go?
Yeah.
Might it make sense to tell them, hey guys, we don't know who the manager is, the new guy coming in, but you still have jobs here if you want them. You still have contracts here. Mm-hmm. Or did they all leave because with Klopp,
loyalty for Klopp?
Yeah, okay, loyalty, but these guys have mortgages, right?
Yeah, true.
And they don't know when Klopp's taking another job, unless they do know. And unless some people have suggested, he takes some time off and maybe after the Euros, the Germany job possibly, which isn't as draining day to day as being club manager. Yeah,
you go back home.
Could that be?
So I read that he said, or I listened to him saying that he wanted to take a year off and something, which I think could make sense if you have energy, if you feel like it's been the last 9 years have been draining, etc., etc. The Germany job is obviously coming up because Nagelsmann, as we know, will finish after the Euros. Although I guess if they win the Euros, they might want the German Federation might want him to stay a bit longer.
I'm not sure he'd want to stay.
Maybe he wouldn't want to stay, exactly. So this is perfect for Klopp, right? So maybe they know already that they're going to do that in July or whatever, or August, and that he will bring with him Lijnders and Kravitzs and all of them. Yeah, maybe.